by golly, I almost didn't make it. I was just close enough to basically missing the 1 minute mark. Ooh, my nose. But hopefully it looks good. By the way, we're using a different lens. It probably is not going to make any difference because the camera and the lighting and stuff is not changed. That's like 90% of what something looks like. but hey, it should be fine. Right, that's there. Good. Let us do our totally not seamless transition. Do. 1 sec. My nose. I should blow my nose to our stream. We'll be fine. And this, then this. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. We're using a new lens that I can't zoom out for. So if you're wondering why he's so close, Grin, that's why. That's why. It is because my dad got these. He collects like camera lenses. He got this one, which is really nice. It has like a depth of field effect, but yeah, it doesn't have any zoom out, and I can only use it with this shot because it is far enough away, essentially. But otherwise, there's no zoom. It's just this distance the whole time. If I use it as our normal one, it'd be weird. Also, I think it looks more or less the same, if not exactly the same. Anyway. Lone says, I just noticed, are we having a hangout stream a lot later than usual? Wait, what do you mean? I just noticed, are we having the hangout stream a lot later than usual? What do you mean? I was like, did I fuck up? It's Saturday, right? Saturday's always at 1 p.m. Right? Get up. What does that mean? What does that mean, Lone? Are we having the hangout stream? Oh, did it say? Oh, that's what it was. Oh, okay. Well, no. No, damn it. Damn it, no. Shit. I must have misclicked on that one. Yeah, because this one shouldn't have changed. This one should be at 1 p.m. I think it was because I used the template of last week's, and last week's might have been at 5 p.m. I don't know if that's true. Right. Yeah, it must have just been what the time when I was setting up this stream. That makes more sense because, yeah, sometimes I set the streams at like the last minute. So 4, we go live at 5. But yes. Also, this is the Dune trailer. I don't know. I don't know if I just had some gameplay. I'm like, I guess. Honestly, that Judas we should put on, that Judas game, that one looks significantly more interesting to me as far as the visuals. And like, again, it's just been such a long time since we've had Bioshock, to where it's just like, yes, Bioshock is back, kind of, sort of, a little bit, you know. Also, ladies and gentlemen, can you guys see that like the metal bit here is just stabbing into my collarbone? I'm gonna have to put on a sweater or something to defuse that, because that's the only negative with these headsets, is that they're not meant to be worn on the neck, essentially. So I think I pulled them down though, so they're a little bit less tight on my whole thing. But yes, I don't know, man. The Dune game, I know a lot of people who love the movies, and I want to watch the movies. They apparently are really good. I just don't know what this game is. It's got like the same. It's like the same exact issue as the Avatar game that Ubisoft made, where I just feel like, what is this? What, I have no idea of like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because like it looks kind of like Mass Effect. It's the only thing that's coming to mind is like Mass Effect, which I think is awesome. Mass Effect Andromeda specifically, but also I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of it needs a better like defining thing. Also, we're seeing like a lot of not gameplay, if that makes any sense, like gameplay that's not indicative of what we'll actually be doing for long periods of time. But apparently we can fly, we can use a laser beam. Maybe if you're really into the lore, you're like, this is the things. I don't know, because sometimes games are built off of what like a game, and then they'll tack on a story. This one feels like it's like, no, Dune is such an iconic franchise that we're just kind of making a game where you can do the things that people who know the story and know the world want to do. Maybe. Lone says, "Oh, no stream at regular time." Yes, stream at the regular time. It's not a hang up. Sorry. Yeah, I should get in the habit of using our Discord as like that. It would be like, there's a fuck up or there's a massive change. It's just I'm pretty good about, people around my family, etc., are really good about being like, we do these things on this time. So I'm usually able to hit that time, you know. Fluff says, I mean, it's not called Annexa. I mean, I know, but there are other ones I just find that are not. It's just this fucking metal bit. It's just stabbing into my neck, and then I'm like, does it have to be that? Can it be concave or something? I mean, I guess I could wear it. I just find it looks significantly more derpy when I'm wearing it. But why are you? Yeah, it doesn't look like a nice set, like soft and like. Fluff says the Dune game is from Conan Exile devs, so it's a sandbox survival game. Oh, okay, I see. So that's why I messed up. Maybe I'm thinking of it as like an RPG, and it's not. It's like a Conan-esque game. But that's crazy because it looks like it's got pretty intricate climbing. You can fly. You have all these weird drones. Yeah, if it's that type of game, those types of games just by their very nature are kind of strangely ambitious, you know? So. I don't know. Also, I do not know the Dune lore, so I don't know why that guy's flying, or how, or what. And is that us? Yes, it must be us. I don't fucking know, dude. Or it must be like this is like you getting your friend and be like, I got you, buddy. Let's pick him up. Lone says, Grin, you have an anime update this spring season. We got about 61 anime coming out this season. Yeah, what do you call it? I seen a video from. I'm not sure if you follow him. I know a lot of people do. His name is Annie News. He covers a lot of like Overlord lore / breakdowns of like what they missed in the manga versus what they did in the show. But he always uploads like it's funny because he always goes through. He's known for like isekais. Like he was one of the guys who exploded from the isekai boom because he liked the content cover the videos that were all about isekai or anime, but all about isekai. Yeah, he uploaded a video last week about like all the upcoming anime in the spring lineup that are like something that his audience would like, which is people who like fantasy. So I seen a bunch. I seen that we have so many crazy anime coming back. And then we have Konosuba. We have a bunch of like anime that should have no one expected that would ever get rebooted again, like Spice and Wolf, I think is one of them to call it what they're called. Then there's another one that's I can't think of what the other one is called, but damn, yeah, there's a ton of them though. They're like, and also there's again, I'm still waiting on my favorite anime to get like a season 4, which is the Welcome to Demon School, and I'm just like, come on, baby, don't stop now. You're 4 seasons deep, okay? You're committed too much. You have to see it through, please. Let that be the logic. There's also one of those things that it's such a big show in specifically Japan, which is nice. So it's like it's the place that matters at being big. Like when stuff is big in the U.S., you're kind of like, will they? Maybe they'll still do it. It's still like they got a W, but I just don't feel like there's an incentivification to do it soon. Whereas if it pops off in Japan, I just find it's almost like next up we're doing this, you know, like and more. so yeah. But the video that I watched didn't show me all of the anime loans. So what is the upcoming anime that you've seen that you thought looked cool? Because the anime only covered like some fantasy ones that are indicative of this channel that I watched. So did you find any that were really cool that were worth like talking about? One says, I'm also watching Gushing Over Magical Girls, and its MC is up there for one of the top 10 favorite anime characters. Really? Well, the anime sounds crazy. Is that the one? No, Magical Girls. That's not the one you were telling me about, but the dude having like like Cupid basically gave him like all of the pathways, we could say. Fluff says Dune gets really weird after the first book. Oh shit. Is it that do the movies follow the books, Fluff? So like Dune 1 is the first book, Dune 2 is the second book? Because I heard a lot of stuff about Dune 1. Like as soon as Dune 1 popped out with the first movie, people were like, I went back and watched it 5 times. I was like, holy shit. I haven't heard of people like. It seems like it's alienating people. So like some people hated it, other people were like, I watched it 16 times. So I wonder what I would like. I tend to like weird. I don't know if it's my type of weird, but we'll see. Eventually I'll probably watch it. But I was wondering, I didn't hear much of anything for the follow-up Dune 2. So I'm kind of like, ooh, I wonder if it just didn't do well, or like Fluff saying, if it's based off every book, then after the first movie or after the first book, it might have gotten a little much, a little much. Oh, dude, I seen a thumbnail. I'm not sure if you watched that video, Fluff, or if you hadn't seen it, but I heard it was like a thumbnail that basically was from a guy who covers news, who said that Warner Brothers canceled a Batman game with the Nemesis system, which sounds so good. First of all, the Nemesis system was one of the coolest things. I just hate that I think they were like kind of shitty about it. They like didn't let other people even mimic it because Warner Brothers billions of dollars would come for you essentially. But it was such a fun mechanic, such a reactive mechanic too, a dynamic mechanic, that it was just so fun, and it makes so much sense for it being like in Batman of all things, or like a superhero thing, because Batman's all about like not killing the heroes, which basically means the heroes inevitably escaping and coming for vengeance of some kind, essentially. So to have like a system that memorizes what's going on, it's hilarious because you think that they would develop that for the Batman game, but instead it was made for Shadow of War, which is like, why? why would you think orcs coming back at time after time to react to you is crazy? Like, what? Why is this the thing? Watching Immortals, I'm currently watching the Immortals Guild. And the amount of fan service on unhinged comedy is fun. What is that? The Immortals Guild. What is that, Lone? Lone, I don't know, Lone. I don't know. I think I'm going to start. I don't want to say. I don't know. So I keep saying I think I want to get back into watching more anime. And I love anime. Like that's not changed. But it's just like there's this one time where I'm like, hey, the stories, it's also just nice having like so much, of a story, you know what I mean? Like for such a long time, I guess, with like anime, you're given like such a fun world to chew on, such interesting characters, and when you really like something, you're like, oh my god, and then it's like, tune in to next season never happens. It's just annoying when they're like, hopefully, but no. But no. I'm just like, shoot me. Anyways, but it's kind of crazy when you're like, oh, I can have a lot. Like I can get into this anime, this manhwa, whatever, and there's like 80 chapters, and holy shit, is it just like I can go in, if I like a story, I can keep reading, and there's usually a good bit to keep reading. Like there's a lot of garbage out there for sure, but yeah, and yeah, I don't know too. So to me, I'm enjoying that too. Of like, as a person who just dearly loves stories, it's awesome to see that. The trilogy of film will, within the third on the way, is the first book only. Oh, wow. Really? I didn't know that. So there's 3 movies to cover the first book? Fuck. Okay, never mind. Jesus. I did not think that. Love says, people really liked Dune 2. The movie was mostly just establishing stuff. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I didn't hear much about it. I heard a lot about the second one, but not about the second one. I heard a lot about the first one, but not about the second one, sorry. But yeah, maybe that was one. I used to follow like a movie podcast, but then all of the people who I watched do podcasts eventually just either started covering movies I didn't like, or what always happened, which is they just became hyper cynical for like everything that came out, and they just shit all over everything with their buddies. And it's fun when you watch it for like 3 or 4 podcasts. When every other podcast is like, this is shit, this is dumb. You're like, you guys are just toxic, and then you walk away. So I've been out of the loop. I was telling my mom this, because she isn't getting back into movies. She has like a whole list that she's like, I'm gonna watch, and of course it just keeps growing, and she watches like one every month. But I haven't watched, I think, a movie in like maybe 2 years. Maybe that's not being fair. Maybe I watched 2 movies. Yeah, maybe 2 movies in the span of 2 years. I think those movies were John Wick. Okay, because it was a tradition with my family. We watched it at New Year's. It's weird, but yes. Yeah, and I have not watched. Again, I just watch anime, YouTube, and now I'm reading manhwa, I should say. I would dabble with some manga, but to me, I like my color. I like the bright color and the art and the whole thing. Fluff says Warner Brothers has been canceled a load of things, but it may have been due to the Kevin Convoy passing. Oh, is that right? Yeah. I think there was a new person coming in the thing. Fluff says on that note. Oh, maybe you're talking about maybe Kevin Convoy is the guy who made the normal the original Arkham Knight guy. I don't know if that'd be a reason though, because you just go back and voice over everything again. Maybe it was supposed to be a sequel to Dark Knight or something like that. Although with AI, I don't know. I feel like maybe I got to pay the family or something. I don't know. On that note, we had potential leaks for SSK. JL at least last 5 seasons, and that we'll get a return of Batman with line recorded after. Oh, Suicide. What was that? Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. God damn, that's not even an abbreviation. I get you. Yeah. We'll get 5 seasons at the least, and we'll get a return of Batman with lines recorded ahead of time. Okay, that's huge. That's amazing. And again, that was the biggest. It's actually kind of stupid to me that they did that a little bit, because that would be the thing that, like, again, to me, it's almost like I feel this is not going to how it's actually going to go, but I kind of feel like what you telling me that makes me not want to play Suicide Squad until we have verification that, like, Batman, our guy who we're so loyal to and we played so many games with, is like, hey, I got you. It's all gonna be okay. I'll take care of everything, you know. Sadly, means we likely won't have a playable character just go season 6 and beyond. Yeah, probably. Unless it just explodes in popularity, but even then, I don't think Warner Brothers seems to be in a like a purge state right now, where they're just trying to, like, cut shit off. Even if it makes financial sense it could still yield a lot. I just don't think they're in that headspace. Lo says, so gushing over magical girls is about a socially awkward average girl named Ultana, who's obsessed with magical girls and wishes to be one day. A mascot comes up to her and says, "Want to be one?" And then she's just locked in and turns her into a villain. Then she dons her true self, which is a sadist. Okay. I don't understand. Okay, so the gushing over it's not a dude protagonist, so this is one of your top protagonists, and it happens to be a woman in there? God, I thought it was that. Gotcha. Damn, okay. I wonder what it's like. It's like just a comedy? But they will be wrapping up with the conflict with Brainiac alongside with an expansion, why we won't fight all 13, liberate or stuff. Yeah, I was about to say. I feel like, again, what seems like, I feel like they're understanding, like, the motion in the ocean a bit with the Suicide Squad game, and unless there's just like a unforeseen heroic comeback, I think it's unfortunately going to be one of those games that, again, like people said this, I agree with this sentiment, and I think it's only going to get worse as they, like, finish all the DLCs and, like, put all this content in there. I feel like it's definitely going to go the route of Sunset Overdrive, which is just a game with, like, such good movement, so many good things to it, but just because of some stupid, like, live service timing of people being so fatigued, it's gonna go down as being a piece of shit, or like, not gonna go down. Sorry, it's gonna be going down as one of those games that was just a bad timing, essentially, really bad timing, which is, again, so shitty, because, again, it's not like they didn't tell us that was gonna be the thing that's gonna happen. But anyways. Love says, we got free tickets to carry over months by month, so we got to see Dune 2 and Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Both were good. Dune 2, easily the best movie I've seen in a while. Oh, fuck, really? Okay. Yeah, to me, it's up there for, like, the movies that it's a must watch, because again, to me, it's been a while. I'm not sure if you're a fan of it too, but I really enjoyed the Riddick movies. Yeah, I don't know, they were just fun to me, and that very much seems like a similar world to that whole thing. Kevin Conroy is definitely the voice of Batman, ever since the debut with Batman the animated. Oh, I see. Okay. Wow, it's funny because for him to be covering it for that long, he must have been old then, right? But he didn't sound very, very old at all. It's crazy how I guess a voice doesn't necessarily need to change, especially if you're a voice actor. You probably have that much control. You don't really hear the fatigue. So it would make some sense that they cancel something that likely got interpreted part way through due to online. Yeah, the only reason I don't agree with that 100% is just because I think it's like the last couple months. Specifically, I think it was Warner Brothers. Maybe it's another company that I'm getting things conflated with, but I think it was Warner Brothers, where there was like 4 movies that they just canceled that were done, like that were just fully done. I don't know if it was like Batgirl or something like that, but they were movies that were done. Now we're hearing about games that are canceling. So I don't know if, like, just because those ones, there was confirmed that they're basically done. There was another one that I thought was really fun. It was like I'm not sure if it was like Roger Rabbit or some other one, but it was like a bunch of those ones that were like fully finished. But they just canceled, or I shouldn't say canceled. They just put them on ice for a while. Meaning, I don't think they've ever not done that and then brought it back. But yeah, it's one of those things where, to me, it's just a coincidence of so many actions. It would be surprising to me that all of them are weird like that. You know. Fluff says, So it wouldn't make sense to do that. Yeah, I agree that that would add to it, but a part of me thinks that they're just in a state where they're just chopping shit off at this point, you know. Fluff says season 2 needs to make major gains. Let me catch up. Needs to make major gains for any hope they'd continue the game further. But at least we'll have Joker freeze. Yeah, again, it's there's a whole debate. I want to know what you guys think about this. This is kind of something that Lone, I think, connects with really before this debate, I think, was even happening. But basically, the first thing I got hit with this is, let me finish. There's a debate going on right now, which I heard about, which is interesting, where there's an argument for basically you owning your games and you not owning your games. And then we heard a couple weeks back about how Ubisoft was basically like, consumers need to get comfortable not owning their games. And you're like, what? Like, fuck you. And then he brought up the correlation of like, hey, for such a long time, people have to become people used to buy their DVDs, but then Netflix came along and you pay a subscription to basically use but not own. So when that subscription's done, you don't own it, it's no longer yours, it's done. And then he basically making the argument of like, and people are fine with that now, and now gamers just need to be fine with that, essentially. And then the whole main takeaway is that the CEO is like missing the biggest red herring, which is, I'm not okay with that. Or most people aren't okay with that. Or I still want the option to be able to own the thing that I own, you know? And now the thing that really to me doesn't make any sense, which is that some games are formatted in that same way. So you can pay a full price $60 game that is unequivocally smaller than $60 games that you bought before. So it's not like this isn't this industry standard for you buying something and owning something, and you can play it whenever, however, etc. But the company, and this is the thing that doesn't make any sense. It just makes you're like, if you do this, I can't imagine a person who would want to support your business anymore if you did something like this, where if you pay for a game and then they immediately cancel service for that game, it just kills it for you. It makes some... Now, it doesn't even make sense with multiplayer games, because there's instances where you can hold your own live server and whatnot. The first time this ever happened to me, I was really just like, oh, I didn't even know that could happen, is Battleborn. Battleborn was one of those games where it was only when Fluff told me that I always thought that, like, because I have Battleborn on Steam, I could still go back, download Battleborn, and go through the quests, like the story missions that were perfectly fine. I could always go and play some weird stuff. I thought I also was going to be able to actually like do like my own little servers, like your own like LAN parties, etc. But no, no, they just killed it completely. Where like if you paid $60 for that, and heaven forbid you bought skins, all that's just dead, like completely gone. Like, it's the worst example of like not owning your product ever. And to me, even though I really like Borderlands and whatnot, I would not be shocked for a second if people were like, yeah, no, I cannot ever support this company again, because I don't know if what I'm going to be buying is going to be safe anymore. That's brutal. And it's funny because a lot of people like pointed out, people who are in the games industry were like, it's not difficult, by the way, gang. It's not difficult for them to basically make a patch that makes it, you have to have a system, essentially, a powerful enough system to run all the mechanics in the background. But then for you to do that, it's also not that hard for them to add like the ability for LAN parties, etc. But there's an incentive to not do it, because you could theoretically release your game again, or whatever it could be. You can make like a super deluxe mega edition or whatever 2 years later, or you could reboot your game or remake it and such. And yeah, that's the worst of it, I think. Lone says, Immortal Guild is about this guy who wants to retire, but before he can do that, he has to find a replacement, and due to the personalities of the 4 girls he's retiring, his retirement has to wait. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, replacing. I heard a lot about it. That sounds like a fun story. I hear a lot about it. It's funny that it's the Immortal Guild. I wonder what that implies. Definitely sounds like some really interesting concept idea for anime, where a lot of the anime is always like isekai, or like guy is OP, you know. Fluff says, I know, but I figured Connor's ultimately passing is I would agree it's a factor. I would say it's 50% back, 40% factor. I'd say it's a 40% factor, but just because of everyone going buck wild, I think there's a variable there too that's just like, come on, you could hire a voice guy, please. Or just use more Nemesis systems, but they never will. They'll just make whatever the most cookie cutter game is, and then the one game that they actually took somewhat of a swing on, but then also pumped it full of microtransactions just so it could make sure that it could never really fail. Because I still don't think Suicide failed. I think Suicide Squad still made a lot of money. Yeah, I might have failed. We'll see. I think Fluff says, but there's a lot of pushback and groups. Oh wait, no. The digital games are a matter of it being a rental license, and sadly, said license can be revoked when the holder deems it to be so. Yeah. That's the thing that's wild. Just the idea again, like. It's like it's not only the ability for you. It's not that you're not even owning something. It's just that like I have the ability to take away the thing that you gave me money for. You know, and it's tough because they don't make. It's tough because there's this argument of like owning versus like I remember this argument coming up when we were talking about like covering games with YouTube and videos and stuff like that, where people are like it's stealing. You don't own it, and it's kind of like this blanketed rule of like, well, yeah, but it's not close enough to like harming the initial business. In fact, it's helping the business, so we should just leave it be, kind of thing. It's the same thing I think with harada and manga or anime, where it's a subliminal rule of there's always going to be a lot of harada about certain anime shows, specifically gacha type games and gacha anime, that it just ends up being like an actual benefit to have them around. Fluff says, but there's a lot of pushback and groups like archive.org preventing things as best as possible, or preserving things as best as possible. Meanwhile, people can still play Anthem. I will give them that. I'll give them that. Okay, as much as I give Anthem a lot of shit, that is a W for Anthem. I didn't know that. Whew. Lone says, the anime I'm looking forward to this season, 1, Konosuba, of course, season 3, 2, two studios apart. What is that? Good lighting. What the fuck is all these? Jesus. Good lighting. Now, anime have such weird names where it's just either the whole paragraph or just 2 syllables. Angel included. Maybe it's 2 studios, good lighting, angels included. Okay, so that's the whole ass name. That is the okay. Never mind. It's a whole paragraph. 3, train to the end of the world. That sounds epic. 4, banished from the former heroes, lives as he pleases. Okay, it's funny that there's a lot of those coming out now. These are like things that are so like locked in. Also, isn't this the final season of Day to Live Alone? I think it's swapped another anime publisher. I think, maybe I think it's Konosuba who changed the anime. Well, it's the same one that did the movie, but yeah. I got a bunch of stuff in my head. Fluff says, speaking of Battleborn, Take-Two supposedly has acquired a Gearbox. Yeah, what do we call it? That was something that happened last week. Gearbox got acquired by Embracer Group a long time ago. And then, finally, this is what was weird about it. It's like there's Take-Two, and then there's Take-Two Interactive or something like that. And one is like the publisher side of things, and then the other one is the genuine business. I don't know. It's hard to someone explaining it to me, or someone in a video explaining it to me. But yeah, regardless, Take-Two now owns, I don't know if it must be all of Gearbox. I thought it was, regardless, it is Borderlands. That's what everyone was talking about. Is like, okay, now Take-Two owns Borderlands. And I don't know. I still, part of me, well, I don't know. I want to say that, like, I would really hope that Xbox was going to acquire Gearbox into some capacity. But at the same time, I don't know if Xbox is going to be able to really. Yeah, I had a lot of hope in the past of like Xbox doing cool things, and now so Hi-Fi Rush did a lot of heavy lifting for me. But yeah, what was it called? The Vampire first-person game. did a lot of not work for me. So I'm kind of in that. I will see if Xbox can do right by Fable, then I'll be pretty gung ho for Xbox for a good while there. But until we get that shoe to drop, I don't know. But what do you think this means, Fluff, for the future of what do you call Borderlands? Do you think things changed? Do you think Embracer Group had any kind of hand in what happened with Wonderland, or specifically what happened to Borderlands 3? Where, I mean, yeah, it's tough. I don't know anyone who ever argued that Borderlands 3 has a good story. You know, everyone's just like, what happened? Whose idea? Whoever's idea was it to make a bunch of super unlikable douche lords who are influencers who have zero personality and make the most cookie cutter like story ever of like generic bad guy bad, and then when you had a moment to like have them be human and like show mercy towards their dad, nope, he just wants to kill immediately. None of that. Also, Maya, just let her die randomly. Again, I think it could make sense if Borderlands 4 is going to be the Thanos story, basically. The Avengers Endgame, let's reverse the snap of all of our characters dying. Let's bring back Scooter, let's bring back all these people, and then let's Avengers assemble and fuck up some shit. That would be cool. That might be it, all right? That might be enough of like, okay, we had to get one really bad game with a horrible story just to get to this moment of, holy fuck, it's happening. It's still, you could have just done a better job with Maya's dying. She just gets fucking Thanos snapped and turns into dust. What? It's dumb. Anyways, she could have like went out like a badass, and instead she just kind of gets touched and just falls apart. Not Immortals, Grin. Immoral. Ah, that makes more sense to what kind of anime it is now. Okay, got it. There are other. He likes the Duke of Death. I know, yeah, the Duke of Death is. I'm not sure if this is its last season. I think it is. Is that not right, Lone? I think this is the Duke of Death's last season, which I am so excited because that is absolutely the most comforting comfort anime I've ever had. It's just sweet. It's wholesome. You can't binge too much of it because you'll get bored, but it is just like it's like a Spy X Family, which is just like a nice watch. It's not a good binge. It's too much meh. It's too much like softness for a binge. You'll get tired, bored. But it's just the right amount of like, ooh, I'm gonna watch 2 episodes and then leave it for a week and then come back. Lone says yes. It's like a. Oh wait, speaking of gacha games, Blue Archive is getting an anime. Not sure if you ever heard of the series. Blue Archive? It sounds like something I maybe have seen. Yeah, it's final season of Day to Live. I don't think they swapped studios for the last. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm thinking of the other one. Fluff says Take-Two has Gearbox. Has been partners for the longest time, but now they own Gearbox or soon probably. Yeah, well, that was something that people were mentioning, is that people were like, well, no. What do you call it? Yeah, Gearbox it basically worked with... Gearbox fully owns all of other products. Take-Two is a publisher, so it's just like Activision and Blizzard or whatever. That's what that is. Now, granted, Activision owns Blizzard, in the same way now that Take-Two owns, what do you call it, Gearbox. I wonder what that's gonna mean, man. I don't know if it's like, because my reason is they had a deal that was always going to be implemented. This is a much more funner question. Okay, let's do this. Sorry, I'm gonna ramble for a bit. So chat, I'm gonna lose some comments. Repost if you want me to see the thing. So if Gearbox has a deal with Take-Two, which was always in effect, regardless of Embracer Group being a thing, where they basically publish games under Take-Two, so Take-Two is still getting a part of that money. So if there is a new Borderlands game coming out, it's not like Take-Two wouldn't still get their cut of the pie, essentially. So then the question becomes, why would Take-Two want to buy Gearbox if they're still basically going to be doing business as usual? The only reason why they would buy Gearbox is if they have an ambition to do something more with it, whether it's expand Borderlands to spin-off games and whatnot, or I don't know. Honestly, what I think what would probably help is Wonderlands. I think the fact that Wonderlands and Borderlands were popping off, I think it signaled to Take-Two to be like, oh fuck, okay, okay. You have 2 IPs now, and people really like your formula, even though we kind of knew that. But even still, I think Tiny Tina's Wonderland was made by an entirely different studio essentially. But it didn't really feel that different. It still felt like Borderlands. So I don't know. To me, that's a much more funner question. I wonder what you guys think. What do you guys think is the reason why Take-Two would take the massive risk, which the only reason I think they would buy this whole ass studio from Embracer, is to basically do something with it. Otherwise, they still had the deal locked in where they basically had to publish Borderlands. I think Wonderlands was still in the same contract to publish it under Take-Two. So yeah, I wonder what is going to be their approach, having made the very expensive choice to buy this publisher. What are they going to get them to do? Are they going to Gearbox is already doing like things with movies. Maybe that's it. Maybe they seen that like the money train was chugging along with Borderlands, and they were like, let's try to grab that and amplify it as much as possible. I don't know. So Embracer likely did very well to influence that. Take-Two published rights for Borderlands IPs, so Embracer likely did very little to influence that. Heck, I think they only bought Gearbox a couple years ago. What I want for Borderlands 4, finally address the setup for the ending of the pre-sequel. Yeah! Well, to me, I also want Borderlands 2's ending. I want the ending where the alien comes down and talks to fucking Lilith, and it's basically like, here's the next big thing. And then they're like, none of that. The third game comes out, none of that. I'm like, what the heck? But also, Borderlands 2 was made by a really a supposedly controversial guy, especially back in the day. But now it's like he's just a guy who said I thought weird shit, had some weird beliefs. But yeah, he basically was like the guy who made Borderlands 2 story, which is widely regarded as like one of the best stories in general for especially that time. Especially main villains, easily one of the best main villains ever, done to death, but still. I think his name is Henry Burke or something like that. I don't know. Fluff says, what I expect from Borderlands 4, more wokeness and somewhat live service BS. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I hope not. Although I will say the whole like, it's tough because again, I will always say this: out of all of the games that I've ever wanted to have a live service, it's always been Borderlands. Ever since the very first thing of Borderlands 2, it's one of the only games that I wish I could play for like months after months of release. And yeah, and to me, what's even more frustrating is Gearbox. It did actually a pretty good job of like amplifying the game after Borderlands 3. Everyone hated the shit out of Borderlands 3 story. I've never met one person who said, I loved it. It was just so good. It connected with me, resonated with me. Not one person. But I knew a shit ton of people who were still playing Borderlands 3 3 months, 5 months, almost a year after the game had fully completed. The reason why is because Gearbox did like fun takedown events where like we even played a lot of them. They did like the thing. So like Gearbox is actually their like live service element, which was never a live service element. They never made you pay for any of these expansions. I think they had like, I don't even know if they had like, this was all free. But it was basically like, without them calling it live service, it was live service. Where they gave consistent content, they gave new legendaries, they gave like new game modes. Maybe that's what people want. Maybe people just want like, no, I want to pay $60 and then get a great game, and then it's awesome when you give me a lot of ice cream on top, essentially. A nice dessert after I'm done playing it. Sure, maybe people want that too. But to me, I don't know. Gearbox is one of the few, or not Gearbox, but the specific wing of Borderlands 3 development. The only thing I ever heard from people who are enjoying the end game and like the content cycle of new content coming, were people just saying, I want more. And the only way you can have more, at least in this instance, I think, is if they were literally to make it like a live service element. Now, they did this in Wonderland horribly, like half-assed. Like 80% of the new content was cosmetics. You got like a couple new guns, but largely it was just, not enough, to say the least. So yeah. By the way, Grin, I'm hearing, a sort of echo. You guys, thank you for telling me, Fluff. Yes, that's why. God damn it. God damn it, Fluff. Fluff, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But you guys got to tell me that earlier. God damn it. Oh, we were streaming for like how long? 40 minutes of people watching and hearing a dumb echo. Oh, no. Well, thank you, Fluff. I wish you would have told me just a little bit sooner. But beggars can't be choosers. Thank you. Oh, let me catch up on what's being said here. Lone says, studio, apartment, good lighting. Oh, wait, no, I think we read that. I just say the video about it's a guy who lives alone in a part-time job and goes to school, but he's lonely. Oh, okay. It just sounds like a sad circumstance. Fluff says, the way. I'm not sure if it's the mic. No, it's not this mic. It's basically, you guys are hearing both of the mics coming through, so I had to turn off one of my other mics, or mute my other mic. What is good, Ross? The Ross says, hey, Grin, what's good, Ross? How are you? Hopefully you're good. We're talking about the BS of not owning a video game anymore, and also Take-Two buying Gearbox, and what that would mean for Borderlands, because I don't think Take-Two has much to gain from just purchasing Gearbox unless they're gonna do something with them. So we're talking about that. I watched earlier Overlord, like the anime. How are you enjoying it? Because it's awesome. And wants to roommate with one morning. He wakes up and there's an angel sleeping on his balcony. I'm not sure if that's the last season of Duke of Death. I think it is. I thought that's what they said. But maybe check that for me, please. I think it is. Unless they split it into two. Fluff says, that was the ending of TPS, not BL2. What do you mean? That was the ending of a TPS, not BL2. I thought the ending of Borderlands 2, there was an alien that like comes down and talks to Maya. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Ashley Birch, that's it. What? Yeah, I forgot the name. And the lead writer of Borderlands. Yeah. He was. There was like a guy. All I know is that there was a thing where Randy Pitchford. There we go. Randy Pitchford like fired a person. Also, mostly Christmas. Slave face. Thank you, thank you, Christmas. Appreciate you always. But yeah, what do you call it? There was a thing where like back in Borderlands, there was a big controversy with Randy Pitchford versus this writer, and I just don't think they got along. But like, it super felt him not being a part of the writing process anymore, which is terrible. But yeah, Fluff says so. It's surprisingly that keeps working with her after cutting ties with him. So it's surprising they keep working with her after cutting ties with. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, I think also she is just such a iconic, sweet person. And I honestly think I've seen interviews with what's his name, Ashley Birch, whatever the brother guy's name. He does seem kind of like a shithead, like kind of like a bitchy bastard, but he also makes great stories. So kind of maybe comes with the territory. I don't know. Rasta says, listen, all I can say, people not owning games is fine if they do like subscription models to platforms. The game is that. Yeah, no, I don't disagree that, like, I do think both should exist, but it is shitty. Like, again, I think it's kind of a crime when you're paying $60. So, for instance, I paid $60 for a game called Battleborn, and then they just killed it. That to me it shouldn't exist. Like, I paid the amount where other games clearly just exist. Like, you can play Skyrim right now if you have it downloaded, you have a copy of it, you have Skyrim, bang, you can play it. The idea that like a game, even though you bought a game for full price, that they're just like, I just think no. That's shitty. If you're paying $10, then absolutely you can be like, but you own a time to play it. When this $10 is up, yeah, that's fine. But when I'm paying full price for a game and then you still kill it afterwards, that's bullshit. That is absolutely not right. Fluff says one price prerequisite content is what the consumer wants from the ideal live service. One price. Yeah, I don't know, man, because to me it's like, again, the live service thing. like it's something that I don't think you can completely avoid, because especially the reason why I also don't think you should have to avoid it, because what happens when there's a game that you love the shit out of, you want to play more of, and the developers want to keep doing stuff for it, and the thing that enables them doing stuff on it is adding a few skins that can basically support them to do that. The issue is that no business is ever set up to function that way. Every single game that was ever created ever has a publisher and has other business people in it that are basically trying to maximize the maximum amount of profit they can possibly attain, while doing the least amount of work to then put other people who are doing that work on other games so that can even make even more money and even more profit. So as much as I do think the idea of live service, the idea of if you like this game, you can play it for longer if you support it for longer, makes total sense. It's just not the thing that actually exists. But I still hold out hope for there being some publisher that has so much brain rot that they can actually give just a percentage of the copious amounts of money that they're making from the microtransactions to actually making great content for the game to make it worth keeping and investing in. But yes. Fluff says, I didn't hear it until maybe 30 minutes ago. Maybe it's because I'm shouting. Maybe that's why. You're starting to hear the echo because I'm yelling. Alone says, I didn't notice these things, so I'm glad there are people to... Yeah, you're way too... way too just ride it out. Arasta says, because we have consoles doing it, it's completely reasonable. What do you mean, consoles? Well, consoles I don't think could do that, though, right? Consoles, I don't think kill... Like, I still think you can, like, Lone's one of the psycho people out there who basically still has a hard disk copy come in almost of every game. And to me, again, I just, like, if you pay $60 for something, I realize you can't distribute it, but the fact that you can't, like, play, like, I can still play my PS2 games. So that's the weird thing, you know? Like, to me, it's weird that, like, it's possible for a developer on Steam just to be like, yeah, no. Despite you haven't downloaded it, it's there, you've ran it already, it's good to go. How about no? How about it's no longer there and it's gone? And you're just like, what? And then you're like, you know what? Piracy it's not looking that bad. Okay, piracy's looking pretty goddamn good, actually. Thank you very much. Alone says, Fluff says, with Borderlands, having more success than failure for their games, and the movie on the way, Take-Two is likely seeing the potential profit for fully owning Gearbox rather than just being a publisher. Yeah, that's true. That could be it too. Probably. I also wonder. If there is. I don't know, cause if you're looking at that, like the puzzle that is the Borderlands series, which a lot of people love dearly, I think. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a guy like, dude, I don't mean this in a bad. Get Randy out of there, okay? Get Randy. Randy wants to make movies. Go make Borderlands movies. Randy's making Borderlands movies. Okay, make Borderlands movies. Now get that writer, that Ashley Birch's brother, get him back in there, okay? Make a game. Make a game. Fix this mess, and then pump it full of live service so we make even more money, and that can make the profit. That could be the whole process. But to me, it is such a thing where you're looking at the, like, Borderlands. If you take away Borderlands 3's story, what a great game. Good update to the engine, tons new guns, builds actually felt pretty balanced across the board. Each class was overpowered, especially as the game continued to get updated. They keep, like, balancing out them with, like, subclasses and just buffs and all that stuff. The levels made everything a little chaotic and messy, but still, yeah. But the story, take that away, a fantastic game. The issue is the story is not just neutral, it is negative. It is bad. It is worse than not bad. Yeah. Also, does anyone have any other gameplay loop that we could throw on? Because I'm getting tired of seeing that guy with the thing on his nose. That's one thing that bothers me with the whole Dune situation, is just I just want to rip that fucking thing out of his nose so badly. Just so badly. It's just Fluff says TPS ending tiny. What the fuck is the TPS? I keep forgetting what that is. The pre-sequel? There we go. The pre-sequel's ending had the Iridian come down and stop Lilith from executing Athena. No, that's not what I'm meaning, though, Fluff. I know that's the thing. If you go watch the ending of Borderlands 3, or 2, sorry, Borderlands 2, there's a moment where they meet the alien at the end. That's what I mean. So that's to me is the ending that I'm talking about with the alien. And I think they basically explained, like, it seemed like they were like, let me talk to. We thought, I think at the time, that like, oh, this alien is gonna teach Lilith about like what's going on with these sirens essentially. But it didn't happen. No. Excluded Athena after being told the story, telling them a big threat is coming and they must prepare. Only for that to be a cliffhanger after 2 more main installments still present. Fluff says, the more I case against always online games without an offline mode is it may be easy, but publishers don't like easy. If it may like fuck with a potential revenue stream, yeah. I guess, yeah. Love says, I mean, Epic delisted a lot of their old games last year. Unfortunately, even old platformers aren't safe from this. Yeah, that's why, pirating is kind of the shit. I've went completely 180. Before I was like, it's really nice to support the things you like because then you get more of those things. I think there's a realm where that exists to some extent. Anime is still one of those realms where, like, if you really like a movie and you buy the DVD and shit like that, then they just make more of that. Great, but there's not like pay. It's probably gonna happen where like you're watching an anime or you're reading a manga and they're like, hey, do you like the outfit that this character's wearing? If you pay $1, we'll change up the art. Hell, with AI, dude, you probably change up the whole art style of the story you're reading. That's gonna be crazy, dude. The more I think about AI, the more I just think it's gonna be such a fun and horrifying world. and I'm just hedging my bets on the fun part. I'm just hoping with dear life that's gonna be the thing where you're gonna be like, hey, I want to change this cool story format into insert style, insert tags as well. That's gonna be a real weird. I would say it's probably 10 years away. Most of us can make 10 years, I think. I think it's gonna be 10 years away before we have like a destructive amount of choice, which is not a bad thing. I think it's just something we gotta have to figure out how to handle. But fuck me, dude, that's a very weird thing to have. It sounds weird, but I'm kind of in the camp of like, can you just choose for me? I don't want to have this. I gotta make so many choices in a day. Can you please just tell me what do you think I might like? Something? I don't know. Well, it says also, Grin, you hear about Spy X Family? I have not heard about it, but it does not surprise me that show popped off, and I still think it's having a wave. I gotta watch that show, by the way. I've only watched season 1 and loved it. I do, again, I think there are certain shows that are like that it's better just to kind of vibe and slowly intake them. You know what I mean? My brother tried to binge watch one of those, and then he hated it. And I was like, yeah, probably because you watched 5 episodes of Slice of Life in a row, and you're not into it at all already, Slice of Life. Love says, a lot of new games have the terrible story, the fantastic gameplay result. Suicide Squad, Remnant 2, could even say Dragon's Dogma has a mediocre story compared to its gameplay. Yeah, I guess I would put. I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is at least neutral. I think neutral is fine. When it's corrosive, that's an issue. I think Suicide Squad is bordering on corrosive. I think it's probably like -2. I think Gearbox's Borderlands 3 is unequivocally -8. Okay, now luckily, it's still it's probably still an 8 out of 10 game because of the other things being so good. But yeah, Remnant 2 I thought was Remnant 2 is one of those games where I feel like it feels less mean or less. It feels like they never even made the effort. You know what I mean? They're like, we're not into this story thing, so we're just gonna give you a baseline and like a world, and then never talk about it again. And you're like, okay, like if they don't care, why should I? But the Dragon's Dogma story, I think, is actually, well, at least to me, I think it's interesting as far as I've seen it. And maybe probably, I don't know, it doesn't seem cookie cutter to me. I mean, I think the true ending is you like doing a lot of crazy shit. Yeah, I mean, I get. Yeah, I don't think it's cookie. I haven't finished it. I haven't finished the story, so I'm not sure. What's good, Lord Blaze? How are you enjoying How are you enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2? Have you seen the progress we're making on our Shield Maiden? Ooh, I hate that I have to get to the end of the story in order to farm end game bosses so that I can finally level up my damn armor to make my pawn the most strong person ever, or just like resistant, I guess. Love says, oh, I lost some comments. They changed gears with the Commander Lilith DLC that bridged between Borderlands 2 and 3, so they abandoned the idea of the pre-sequel ending with the aliens. Oh, I see. I hate that, man. What a boring as hell ending to like the Commander Lilith DLC and shit. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know how anyone... I mean, again, there is still the chance that like Borderlands 3 is basically just a filler game for Borderlands 4, which is going to be like this big Avengers style. We bring back Scooter, we bring back everyone, and it works out. Which, sure, that could be really fun. It might be worth it. But to me, I just don't know how anyone hasn't had like that was like the criticism that everyone had for Borderlands 3. And honestly, like anything around, like even the Lilith DLC, I thought was just fine. Like it was nothing, you know. I just don't know how anyone can. Fire those people. I don't. But like, yeah, it's like, well, you didn't just do bad job. You did damage to the story. I don't know. Fluff says probably because Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel were originally Birch's ideas, but the Commander DLC Onward was, however, the lead writer. If the lead writer still has a job, that's fucked. Because Jesus, again, maybe they're like, no, we're gonna do my vision, which is rough. I don't know why you can't find the bridge that makes this all work together, and you still get your weird Avengers Endgame thing. Yeah. Lone says anime Blu-rays cost an arm and a leg, like around $70. It's true, but I thought not all of them are what do you call Blu-rayed. I thought like you can still get a normal like bog standard thing. Yeah, I guess it's also appeared in there, like the heavy monetization thing. I just still feel like at least with a game, it feels like no matter how much you give to a game, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like most games now are marketed so to the razor wire of like making profit, to where it feels like a lot of it is like no, they're only trying to mine out like the 0.1% of people who have a fuck ton of money and not a lot of time to play, and then they just want a skin to feel extra dopamine in the 10 minutes that they have to play, so then they play and they spend. But like it just feels like your money very much feels like nothing in the video games, with the exception of maybe. No, but even like indie devs, they still basically are they have to work through a publisher, and the publisher kind of uses them to still make money. You know, yeah, it's weird. Very rarely do you see like a game that's fully published by themselves without a publisher that's kind of still part of the same issue of like hyper fixation on wealth. Lord says, also, I heard some rumors about DD2 DLC. Oh shit! I wonder what we could get for DLC. Man, yeah. When you drink pop, and you got like foam, like bubbles up. It's like stuck in your throat, and you're like, do I puke this up, or do I just kind of let it settle? I don't know. Yeah. I wonder what kind of DLC would be for Dragon's Dogma. I would hope, man, we get more vocations, because it's just fun having different builds and stuff to mess around with. But man, what I really want from like Dragon's Dogma is I want to have more pawns. Like I want to be able to make more pawns. Essentially, I would love to make like 2 pawns, and then maybe there's another DLC and there's like 3 pawns. I do think you should have to at least have one random like third-party pawn in your party. It's not that I don't love like Fluff's pawn. I think that's like that almost seems like the perfect system, where like I can design my pawn exactly for what I want, but if my buddy is also doing the same thing, and I see that like his sorcerer is like perfect for me as well, then I yoink that, and now you're like feeding off of the power of your friends. Also, the fact that your pawns stay the same level. Oh, I didn't notice that. I noticed that I was looking at Carthage's pawn, who he let us play with, who is like a mage, and he has like 20 levels on us. I didn't feel like he was like nuking things immediately, you know. So yeah. Also, she's very support based, but still, I didn't like even Fluff's character is like 20 leagues above me, and I still feel like as a magic archer I can still like do a lot of damage. So yeah, I think there is some balance, or maybe it's just all exponential gain, like, you know, when it comes to like leveling up and stuff. Also, Raza says, I miss those days of like CDs and stuff like that. Rasa says I think $15 is fine for like example Steam subscription if they did it. Yeah, no. I think a world where both of those exist makes total sense. A world where if you want to have like a Xbox Game Pass, you pay $15, you get a fuck ton of games, go. Ride or die, fine, right? Subscription, you just get to experience that 10 thing, yeah. But if I'm paying $60 for a game, I do not think you should have the ability to just and then take it away when there is no reason for you to take it away. Maybe even there might be the slightest argument for like, what is it called? For multiplayer games, you have to manage the servers and all that stuff. Sure, but again, a lot of developers came forward with this whole debate of like owning your games and said like it's not very difficult for them to implement a live service or not live service, a live connection. What is it called? A LAN party essentially. A hosting servers kind of system into the game, and you'll be fine. So that to me is fucked. That to me is absolutely broken and should not exist. And yeah, but yeah, I do think both of them should exist because I actually really like Game Pass when it's working for you. You know, especially the fact that you're like if you have any self-control and understanding of how your credit card works, you can just cancel the subscription and not hemorrhage money. But they're not counting on people doing that. People have to juggle too many things in life. So yeah. What misinformation being spread about Dragon's Dogma 2? Color me shocked. Also, some rumor. Oh, I didn't finish reading Lord Blaze's comment. Some rumors about Dragon's Dogma 2 DLC, and I'm not buying it. The rumor, yeah. Well, really, I wouldn't have mind. Oh, I guess, yeah. I don't know. I don't think there was much. I thought there was a DLC for Dragon's Dogma 2. There was like the island of something. Yeah. It's funny, man, because yeah, to me, again, Dragon's Dogma, maybe it's because I'm enjoying the shit out of it, but to me, that's a game that I'm like, I hope I can play more of it, but I know I'm going to get to the end of it, and I'm going to be sad. That's one of those things where my brain's like, if only we had more content dripping out consistently. Although I genuinely don't know how, yeah, well, it's hilarious. I was about to say, I genuinely don't know how they would do live service, like microtransaction stuff in the game, and then it hit me like, oh, wait, they did. They are doing that. It's not necessary, but it is kind of awkwardly there. But again, that's to me is kind of the ideal. It's like when, again, to me, I was thinking about doing this, but I don't think it's probably a good idea. But to me, I wanted to kind of go through like Dragon's Dogma's microtransactions is kind of the, at least to me, the best case scenario where like if you wanted to kind of hurry up your progression, you could. But I have not felt in any way from playing the game. Normally, I haven't spent a single dollar on anything. Like I am in any way slowing, like my progression isn't fast enough. I've not felt like anything like that. So like the game is almost perfectly tuned to being like perfectly efficiently progressed, essentially. As an RPG, especially, which a lot of those games, RPGs are like you have to fucking grind side quests for 20 hours just to gain a couple levels, just to get another skill point or something. Or a little bit of money to then spend on armor that's going to get redundant because you're going to level up or something. But yeah, to me, the idea that you get a solid fucking base game foundation stuff where you progress normally, everything feels fine, and then if people wanted to spend more money in the game, maybe again this is the argument for like, well, if I'm spending more money in the game, it would be nice if they kept supporting the game. But yeah, I guess maybe that's the argument of why there shouldn't be any microtransactions in the game, because it's like, well, again, there's always the argument of like, I don't have enough time. It's nice to have something that can help my progression speed up. Like if I want to go take on some high-level bosses and I want to spend money on high-level pawns, sure, I guess, you know. All they're doing is increasing the margins that they could possibly make from somebody. Like I didn't feel like, as a normal gamer, I don't really feel like I was spending more money or anything like that, or incentivized to in any way. So to me, isn't that the ideal of like the developer makes more money from people who want to spend more money? But our experience is almost identical to if it didn't exist, which a lot of games that's not the case. They usually scale it way high to grind. Like it takes a long time to get like XP, just so that you have a high or some incentive to spend money on speeding up your progress. You'll miss out on the second sorcerer maestro skill. Hopefully you made forgeries of the grimoire. Yeah. I remember that was what people were shouting about. Like, do the grimoire, please. People are overreacting, says Ross. Yeah, man, that's what I'm thinking too. Again, it's rough. Well, again, we're in a time right now where like I think I've never felt more like people are so fucking pissed with just any hint, any like slight scent of microtransaction shittery. It's just like the most feral I've seen people in a while. I'm kind of here for it because I hate it too. I want us to spend $60 to get a video game and not a $90 game and then have microtransactions and then it be scaled heavily to incentivize you paying for micro. Yeah, brutal. Lone says DVD is around $60 depending on. Okay, so then you might as well spend fucking $10 to get like a better experience. That's crazy. That's fucking dumb. All right, never mind. It's robbing you. Pirate, steal, rip, tear. Lone says, nah, I miss. No. Lord says, nah, I miss nothing. I got them also. Fluff says the rumor claims a new region and more content than bitter blackout. Ooh, if that is the case, I'm happy. I'd be excited, man. I'd be mad excited if that was the case. To me, I'm not even finished playing most of the game, but I already want more. You know, which is a testament how good the gameplay is. And again, if they unlocked because right now I do find I am maybe getting to the tail end of like what I am enjoying most about the game, which is like I really love our objective right now of like trying to make the ultimate shield maiden. Essentially, I think it's just fun. I think there's not a lot of games where you can like quote unquote train. Like there's like my dream is to have a game where you can be a summoner or be like a tamer or to be something like that, and then for it to be really done really well. Power World, it's okay. You're less like a tamer and more like just a generic stat buffer, I guess. Like it's just about grinding up levels and like getting a couple traits and then you're good. What do you call it? Dragon's Dogma feels so much more like what I kind of hoped it would be, where you can get armor, you can get weapons, you can scale up the weapons knockback or elemental damage. You can assign them to have a whole ass skill tree that you can invest in. You can give them traits and perks that make them like way more efficient at their given task. Like that stuff is just so good. The fact that they're like leveling up alongside you, so you're like we're making great progress. It's great. Lord says I gave the wizard a forging grimoire and the little girl to the Well, everyone says you should give the real grimoire to the little girl who's like actually sweet, and give the fake one to that son of a bitch who's like the random wizard guy. Also, oh my God, Sasha, it's been a millennia, Sasha. How are you? Hopefully you've been taking care of yourself. What have you been getting up to? Hopefully all things are good. Yeah, what games are you playing, etc. Yeah, last time we talked to Sasha, they were going through it, so I hope everything worked out. God, I hope so. Fluff says, some of the rumors of the DLC seem to be absurd, specifically, so it's not likely. Dragon's Dogma 2 indeed did have DLC, and it should be an expansion on par with the BB or Dark Arisen was, but a lot of the details are meddling and not to be trusted unless you see official news. Yeah, I agree with that. It's always fun to get a little excited though to see what things are happening. But yeah, I don't know. To me, I wouldn't be shocked because I do think Dragon's Dogma did sell pretty well despite the kind of rough reception, just because I think so many people wanted this type of game for such a long time. And I heard a lot of positive things. Like, I think despite the Steam review page, I did see a lot of content creators come out and be like, you guys are being dumb. Like, this is stupid. So whenever there's a lot of drama, whenever there's a lot of stuff going on, I think it actually does more good because more people want to defend. It's one of the weird insights that I read from a book a long time, but it was basically the idea that having people who are heretics is what they always say in the book, or in this case haters, or in this case enemies. When you have people who are against you, who are going against the thing that you enjoy, it almost emboldens you to have a stronger opinion on your side, to defend. And when you defend, well, you speak loud, you think, you do, and the more you do any of those three things, the more you kind of keep establishing in your head a groove, and then it's harder for you to kind of go against that groove. So if your whole life, if you were staunchly, you disagreed with people who drank coffee, you said it aloud, you told everyone you shouldn't drink coffee, it's bad for you, bad for you, bad for you. You just kept doing that your whole life. How hard would it be for you to be like, hey, coffee actually might be good when you said it your whole life. Whenever you like, maybe you're drinking coffee and your friend comes up to you and then she's like, "Why are you drinking coffee? You always told me it was bad for you." Like, now it's good. They're like, "Why? I thought I could. What the hell? I stopped drinking coffee because of you." So like, you're starting to be like, "Shit." There's a reason why we don't want to be contradict ourselves. I guess this is one of those same sentiments essentially. Also, Sasha says, "It's good to see you again." Yeah, Sasha, I'm happy to see you too. I'm happy to forget about little old me. I didn't forget about you. Okay. Oh, I remember you popped in when we were playing one of Fluff's beloved games, which was the fun. What do you call it? The fun. It was like I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically like a roguelike where you got like this crazy gun, you're shooting, you get new weapons, you get new characters, you progress through levels. I think we were rocking like a grenade build at the time, and you popped in and you were just nothing but lovely. So of course I wouldn't forget you. Lord says, some people said it's an island, other say it's a dragon prince, but still it's a rumor. Ooh. I don't know if I would like an island. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Dragon Prince. I don't know what I want from that. For like what we'd want from a DLC kind of thing. I think maybe what would be really endearing. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe. Well, to me, the one thing I just want is more. Like, give me one more pawn. Give me one more pawn. Also, Lone says hello from Twitch. Hello, Lone from Twitch. We should really change this fucking Dune trailer. I'll change it. It's kind of getting. We gotta spice it up. A relationship's getting stale. Not to me though. I kind of prefer the boring. just a me thing. People out here talking about exciting, and I'm just like, let's keep it relaxed. Let's keep it calm. Where is? Oh, I must have not favorited it. Well, never mind then. I was gonna. Maybe we just go to IGN and see if they got anything cool. I think maybe that's where we can actually see the game thing I wanted to see. Where are you? What the fuck? There's a Mandalorian game? That's weird. That's very weird. There's the Power update, which maybe we could do. How to use the summoning altar. Raid boss power we could rock. I just wanted to find the one thing, and it's not happening. Where's the damn Judas? Okay. Judas. Just trying to find. Gosh darn one thing, but I can't. We could also watch the very Japanese anime game. Sure, we'll click on that just to have a backup. There is going to be maybe a man. Oh, it's loud. Maybe. Sorry. There we go. We'll rock that for a little bit. Sorry, guys. I still don't have. I should actually just buy it at this point. It's not that expensive, and I probably could do it. But basically, I want to buy. On Amazon, you can get like a little Bluetooth touchpad, or like you can just use it as like like a laptop where you just scroll with your hand. I would love that, but I haven't bought it, even though I should have, because I bought this from Amazon. I should have bought it. Lord says Dragon's Dogma 2 sold million. Yeah, I was about to say I would have been shocked. Like I do not think Dragon's Dogma is a. I would be blown away if Dragon's Dogma didn't outsell Devil May Cry. It's not that Devil May Cry is not amazing. I just feel like Devil May Cry never had this kind of controversy. It was just kind of a really good game, and I honestly think a game that has pushes people to want to do something, act, defend, etc. Is much more valuable as far as like people wanting to support, wanting to buy, and wanting to do all this stuff. Fluff says muddying and not to be trusted until the official news. The Lord says contradictions. Don't you hate it? Contradiction? What do you mean? What do you mean, Lord? Lord says contradictions. Didn't you hate it? Question mark. What do you mean? You're talking to Fluff, maybe? Lord says DD2 having something like an Everfall and an or/or BBI as essentially perpetual content would be great, since the post game is short-term, roguelike of sorts. Yeah, Fluff, is it possible to beat the end game aspect of Dragon's Dogma 2? Because I don't want to spoil anything, but it seems like there's an element where you essentially maybe lose land or continents, anyways. But is that it? Do you just have to keep fighting for territory, or what? Because I thought I seen people who have end game armor, which I think you get from the end game thing, roguelike thing, but not. But like in a normal, not corrupted world. So I was wondering how they did that. And I thought maybe that there was a way to kind of like beat the end game, and then you could choose between nice looking world or Garbo despair world, and so on. Although I'm happy that. Let me ask this, Fluff. Is there a positive ending for Dragon's Dogma? Because that was the one thing that was evident in the goddamn first game, where it was just depressing. Where it was like, you die, you suffer, you become a dragon. Yeah. And it sucked. You know. Also, there's an explosive pistol. What? Also, apparently, yeah. By the way, everything that we wanted from like Power World has been added essentially right now. With this new update, they added raid bosses, which we will definitely stream probably at some point. We'll stream at some point. They also added the ability for us to create oil, which is amazing for Power World. You can set these guys in there, and now they can produce oil for you, so gun manufacturing should be less bad. Lastly, we also can specify pals to only do one task, which is huge. So you can tell a pal to not do like transport if you don't want them to do transport. Huge. You can also there's healing items in the game that are interesting. I think there's a couple other things that were really nice, just quality of life things. I think it's like certain enemies are tuned up better. I don't know what it was, but it was like other ones. Apparently there's a pistol that like, oh, that must be the pistol that you get from like defeating the boss or something. It looks like an explosive pistol. Looks rad. Lord says, I mean, people wait, let me read Fluff's first. Maybe it's attached to that. Fluff says there was a brief fuss regarding DMC5 potential MTX microtransaction, maybe. But what's MTX? But DD1 also had a similar 12 years ago. DD2 is at least Dragon's Dogma 2 is the least insulting of what Capcom has packaged into their games as of late. Yeah. Lord says, I mean, people contradicting you, didn't you hate that? I'm not sure what that. What do you mean, Lord? I mean, people contradicting you, didn't you hate that? What do you mean? Did I hate people contradicting me? Or did I contradict myself and I hate that? I'm not sure what that means. I'll answer both. If I did say at some point that I dislike people contradicting me, I don't think I hate that. I mean, I know. I see. I was talking about inconsistency. Yeah. So it's that to me what the book that I was reading talks about. So basically, the human mind does not like to be inconsistent. Regardless if you want to think it's like a tribal thing, of like the reason why we don't want to do that is because, you know, tribal this and that. If you were inconsistent in a tribal setting, what do you call it? People would kick you out of the tribe because you're saying how good you are at like collecting berries, and then and you're not. You say that you really like this guy Jared in the tribe, and turns out you hate him. So like you're not being you're jumping around too much, essentially. What was the word I just used? Not contradictive. It was another thing. Inconsistent. You're not being consistent with your beliefs. So if you're inconsistent, then you kind of give off a lizard, like I don't know where you stand at all kind of thing. So therefore, when if you alienate people, when someone like attacks the thing that you like, then you have to defend it by you standing out and like saying that you like something or saying that you dislike something. You deepen the groove of whatever your opinion is. Therefore, it's harder for you to go back on what you're saying, because you stood on your feet and talked about how important that is for you. Did something just fall off my back? Was there a spider on me? Is there a spider on my back? Is there a spider on my back? Look. watched it be a spider, and I don't know. I'm just like, you guys are like, Grin, please. There's a 5-second delay. Oh, fuck, dude. I remember I watched this one stream that was horrible. Fucking spider was crawling on this lady's face and then just, like, disappeared into her hair. And then, like, there's a 5-second delay and her chat pops off. And she's just like, well, whatever. And yeah, I was just, I can't describe. There's also a Nimbus Cloud power. I would flip so much shit you have no idea. I would lose my mind. I would spear tackle the wall. I'd be so fucking afraid. Ugh. Let's don't be all good. Thank you, thank you. Fluff says when you finish the post game quest, it ends and you start New Game Plus. When you finish the post game quest, it ends and you start New Game Plus. I have no clue what the ending are. Other. Oh, I see. Got it. Lone. I say that. Cool. All right. Ooh. Oh, my body. My body hurts so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot. Oh. Okay. This is my preemptive time to talk to you about Manhwa that I've read. This one, I think you might. I don't know. You guys put up with me talking about stories. Lord says, I'm a lone wolf. I don't follow the tribe very well. I go where the wind takes. I don't know, man. I've never met one person who's truly that way. Everyone has some deep desire to have a place in the world. As much as, like, again, every person that wants to be alone, still probably, if I could give you a person where you could feel alone but still be in the company of another person, I think most people would take it, because I think there's something deep in the human mind and the human body that deeply wants to connect with another human being. It doesn't mean you want to talk to someone for 20 hours a day. It doesn't mean you want to, go to a party all the time. It just means that you want to find someone that it feels like you don't have to be on when you're around them, But I do know there's people who very much like to yeah. But I don't know. I find it's difficult because sometimes the same people, they're like, I don't follow the tribe. I don't follow the pack. I also find they're just hipsters. Like you're just choosing. It's not that you're choosing what you want. You're choosing what they're not choosing, essentially. And I know that's not always the case, but I just noticed that's the thing with some people who are like, no. I'm like, oh, yeah. Free thinker is a good thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. What do you call it, Blaze? I 100% lock in. I think that is true, but it's just I've heard so much from like douchers and bad people who are like, I'm just a free thinker, and I'm like, yeah, but you're kind of just an asshole. You're kind of just rude, real rude to people, and also real like you try to get riled up with people. You try to get people riled up a little bit. You're kind of a shit disturber, so to speak. Again, that's not you, Blades, at all. I've listened to you talk enough, and you think you're a lovely person. But yes, the word, like, it's almost like there's certain words like that personally to me, I cannot hear them without feeling so much corruption around them. One of them is free thinker. Unfortunately, that word has gotten corrupted for me quite a bit. It just doesn't really ever feel like what it means. I feel like you should just say, I try to think, what's a great way of phrasing it? Instead of saying I'm a free thinker, you could say I choose to think. I choose to make my own choice in the world. I choose to think freely. Free thinker. At least that just sounds different. I choose to try to think freely out of others. But you want to take in others' arguments. So that's not really a good way to phrase it either. Anyways, free thinker is a little bit corrupted to me. A feminist, unfortunately, to me is also corrupted. Not that I don't believe in all that stuff. I just think that, like, the way it's used is often not what the thing actually means. I feel like that's a lot. I don't want to get too into this, but I do think that's a lot of things, unfortunately, that I would really like that people changed, essentially. I would really like it if people were less about, like, saying this quick kind of, like, tagline that summarizes so many beliefs, and instead just say, I believe that it's important to not to think for yourself. So to hear as many opinions as you can, but then still make your own judgment. That's awesome. Did you really need to condense it so much to make it so that now when you say one thing, I think I've heard other people say this who also believe these other things. Do you believe that? You're not really being clear on what this exactly means to you. So you're kind of like, I'm just trying to juggle what I'm happening here. And human beings, I think, are pattern machines where you try to figure out, okay, I've heard this. said, a lot of ways from this type of person. There might not be crossover, but I feel a little bit of crossover, you know? Lord says, I got regulations on my free thing. You got regulations on your free thing? Okay, so let me tell about this story. Okay. I read one of the weirdest stories that I've read in a long time when it comes to Manhwa, etc. Yeah, that's how I read stories right now. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's fun, okay? But I've really enjoyed the trope in the stories I'm reading called regression. So essentially, it's the idea of something happens to the world, usually some apocalyptic thing, and then a person like goes back in time to when he's like 10, and he's like, "Oh shit, now I can do something." And you're like, "Whoa." And then sometimes it's like, I gotta stop the world from ending. I gotta stop this meteorite from exploding the world. I gotta, figure out all my regrets. I gotta beat the shit of this guy who fucking almost destroyed me, etc. Really fun mechanic. It's also fun because, the person has like a memory bank vault of you. It's like basically like playing New Game Plus in a video game. It's awesome. It's almost like, oh, I know that like on my first run there was this OP sword in like the beginner area that I just fucking missed, and I had to come back and find it. Well, I know that that's there, and then he goes and like breaks through the lock, gets this OP sword early, and it's just like playing New Game Plus without the like buffs, I guess. Just the knowledge, which is fun. It's also fun because like sometimes they just get ripped, or like they're like a 14-year-old or like a 13-year-old who's just like out there like channeling magic and like destroying their body because they know it's going to make them stronger, and their parents are just like, what the fuck is wrong with our kid? which is it's just a fun story mechanic. Anyways, I'm reading this one, and I noticed that like I just never seen, like I always sort by like most popular, and then I kind of scroll down and see which one like catches my interest within the tag of regression. And I found this one, man, and it's just wild. Because I didn't see a lot of people talk about it. So I was like, wow, why haven't I heard about this? And I watched the first like opening chapter, and I'm like, holy shit! For those guys who don't know, most manhwa are like 60 chapters, and then there's what's called like a season 1 break. So season 1's ended, then we have another 60 chapters, and then it's like season 1's ended, and then our season 2 is ended, then there's another 60. So yeah, and most manhwa don't make it past 120 chapters. Usually it's just kind of like their soft limit there, usually, unless you're like hyper popular, and even then, usually they're like, we'll wrap it up, we'll cut some stuff out. But that's usually the line which they make it to. Anyways, so I'm watching this story. It's a story about how a guy, it's modern day fantasy, towers pop up around the world. There's like this grand like apocalyptic event called the beginning, essentially, where everyone gets powers. Then they just get dumped back out into a world filled with monsters that are exuding from these towers. They fight, they get skills, they get weapons, yada yada yada, all that stuff. But the story goes, with all this stuff happening, essentially the world collapses. The economy breaks down in the first couple of days of this apocalypse happening. Nukes go off because they're trying to kill these monsters, which they don't know that you need to kill them like hand-to-hand combat because weapons don't work. All this shit, and they can't basically they can't win. Then finally, the towers like pull in people. They give them some powers, give them some like training. Most of them die because the training isn't really training; it's just throwing them into the lion's nest. Then they throw them out. Then they fight. You guys probably have heard some of this stuff before when it comes to these stories, if you're aware of these types of stories. Anyways, so the thing that's interesting about this one is that there's basically something called the 8 evils and the 8 goods, and they're basically like these people who apparently regressed way earlier. So there are people who, like, the apocalypse happens, they get pulled in, they get their abilities good. There's apparently people who got their abilities like 10 years, 20 years before anybody else. So they have like an inherent advantage when the apocalypse happens, getting gear, going into dungeons, getting loot, all that stuff. And they get like hyper strong, hyper fast, i.e. they're like these good and evil people. The good people, the good ones, whatever they're called, the 8 goods, are basically people who love the system. They think the system is like this benevolent god that like gives them powers to help people, etc. And there's another group which thinks the system is fundamentally evil, because the system can give you like a quest that's basically like murder somebody. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm just a guy. Why do I gotta kill someone? And then the main character makes the deduction of like, oh, there might be 2 systems that are like, one is deeply evil and one is deeply good, and they can give quests to either person, so you don't really know what version of the system you're dealing with. Anyways, the system is the thing that gives you skills and gives you quests. Anyways, all right. So you have this world which is blown to shit, pieced back together, and now there's like these monarchs people, these big powerful people that are basically controlling everything. So the main character gets killed by one of these 8 evils. He goes back in time to when he was like a baby. And it's fucked up because he gets a choice. I think he gets an item that lets him go back in time, sure, regression, all that stuff. But what's funny is he ended up hearing about something from one of like the powerful 8 evils, where he basically experienced what it was like to be born. So he was basically experiencing his like body break and like get squished and get morphed inside his mother, etc., and getting ripped out, etc. And apparently it's like the most painful experience ever. But as a baby, we don't remember it, all that stuff. It's a really fun concept of like a story of like, yeah, what if you had to relive what it was like getting born and how painful and like gross it feels to get your head. Like my brother had one of his nephews and one of his had one of his kids, and it was crazy. His like the baby was like pressurized in a way that the baby's head was like super elongated. Like there must have been so much pressure. Eventually, it just balanced back out. But it's crazy that like their body is just liquid essentially. Ugh. Anyways. So the main character hears that like this is something that gives you a hell of a power up. So he does that. He goes back to like the day that he was being birthed, goes through the traumatic and painful experience of him being birthed. Then he gets a skill that basically is called like Mana Perseverance, which just like doubles his stats essentially. And then we are back into the sweet, kind of like the roll of things about how the story goes. About like every regression story is just going back in time and cheating essentially. Just getting all the gear early, fucking shit up, leveling yourself up so much to where you can like fuck up the bad guys, right? But what's interesting about this one is 2 things. One, the main character is pretty fucking ruthless. For those guys don't know, or for the guys wouldn't know, he basically he okay, let's go slower. The number one reason why people stop reading this manhwa, and I realized I was loving it. Like we're 10 chapters in, baby, we're cooking. He's a baby, he's leveling up, he's getting all these skills. They ask him if he wants to skip the tutorial, which is basically his like 8 to 10, so he just can jump to when he's 13 essentially. He looks like a fucking freak 13-year-old. Looks like 26 at age 13. It's hilarious. Anyways. But this is where the whole manga shifts, and it's kind of horrible. It's kind of terrible. The manhwa immediately pivots to like this leveling up power fantasy, all that, to the most complicated world economic manhwa that I've ever seen. It spends 20 chapters, and they are long, talking about how he is going to invest in this company. How he goes and finds literally the Wolf of Wall Street guy. He finds him, makes him his partner in the business world, starts feeding him information about like how to do this, and it all actually makes sense, because his whole thing is the world's going to end, the nukes are going to go off, our dollar is going to completely combust, these great evils are going to conquer the world, all this stuff. So in his head, he's like, okay, I need to get enough money to support a continent, essentially. I need to then get strong enough to where I can do beat all the big bads that are coming out eventually, and I have to kill the great evils. But they're kids. So it's not exactly, the guy's not exactly a good guy. But also, we know that they're bad. Like, the anime kind of does some stuff where it's like they could have had like a real moral dilemma of like he eventually gets a fuck ton of money, just like so much money, like billions and trillions of dollars, and then he ends up like just maximizing this to a comical level where he starts working with like all of these shadow people. We've all heard of them, like Blue Rock and all these like big ass investor companies. He starts working with all of them, gets a ton of money, just a gluttonous amount of money. People try to like come at him, but because he has like 5 different shell companies, he's just like, get rid of them. And he gets rid of them. He ends up spending like $1 billion on like mercenaries to go hunt the great evils. And he finds like one of the person that killed him in the past, or basically put him on death's door. He ends up finding him as like a kid, like 13. He's also 13, so I'm not sure which one to really get at. But anyways, the person kind of makes it less bad because the great evil guy was just killing people. He was like a 13-year-old who's just a psychopath, just killing people. Not great. So he goes to try to take him out. He evades him for like 3 more years. So it's like he's like 13 now. He's 16, so it's still fucked, but it's a little less fucked. And people were expecting some sort of like moral quandary of like, do I if I go back in time and kill Hitler, do I do it? And I've always thought, well, if I go back in time, I see Hitler as like a child, and he's like beating the fuck out of a cat. Then I'm like, yeah, fuck him. But if he's just kind of a good kid, then maybe I don't know. It's probably. Anyways, point is, he kills this 30. Yeah, the great evil is dead. Let's say that. Anyways, so that's done. But yeah, the whole story at that point, it stands out as like it is so blatantly apparent that it like is wanting to alienate some people, because no fucking manga or manhwa spends 20 chapters on the complexity of world economics and what you would buy if you ever regress. Let me tell you, okay, if I ever got put back in time, I'd be not sad, because my memory's not that good. I don't remember what he was talking about, but he seemed like he got it. Honestly, the only thing I ever know, and this is always the thing, if you guys get some weird fucking sorcery powers, go back in time, you invest in dominoes. All right, you invest in dominoes as much as you possibly can. It is the highest evaluating stock in the world. Yes, yes, you'll get your money. I think around 2000. What was it? Fucking 2016, I think, is when it completely reevaluated its pricing. Anyways, crazy. It's the stock that is appreciated the most, and I think of all of our last couple hundred years or last centuries. Anyway, something like that. Point is, it's a show that. Oh, the other thing I thought was interesting about the story is he goes back and he's like not a special person. Like like some of these people got like a crazy skill to like help them get through like dungeons. So he's like getting the shit ripped out of his whole body, and thankfully he finds like this girl who also got in early, essentially got the like dungeon thing early, and she's like healing him, but he still has to like get ripped apart, and he's kind of like, this sucks. Like this just sucks. But it's finally getting good. It's one of those stories that's such a slow burn, but he's finally getting to the point where he's like, okay, I become a bazillionaire, okay? I have leveled up. I've conquered like 40 dungeons by myself. I've gotten like a few people in my circle that can like level up and do pretty good. I've killed some of the great evils. I've taken out 2 of the sisters. I've dominated essentially the first good evil guy, or the good ones guy. He's like the leader of the whole gang. He like finds him. He's like a banking guy, or like a trust fund kid essentially, and he like cripples the economy around him, and then he basically is like, come on, be my underling essentially. He's like, okay. and yeah. Anyways, also his code name is Odin because he has a skill called Odin's Rage, which is just like a lightning ability. Anyways, but it's funny that yeah, it's like he's like they all have code names, and his code name is Odin, and it finally clicked in my head. I'm like, oh, he's literally gonna become a version of Odin essentially, which is like this monarch atop of a whole nation essentially, which is gonna be neat. But anyways, it's just I'm 80. No, I'm at chapter 40, by the way. I think maybe it's like 50, probably like 56. I cannot describe to you guys how long these chapters are. These are the longest chapters you've ever read ever, and most of them are filled with economic back and forths, okay? And only finally are we finally stopping that to where we're finally, again, it's like, it is the most non-regression but also most regression story I've ever heard. It's brutal. It's just constant. And I don't really know, I'm not even sure if I'm here for it, but I'm still reading, so I guess I am. But I'm hoping we're finally, people are expecting that at the end of the season, because we're like, I have spent like hours reading this story because it's just so long. That I'm finally, we're not like most regression stories. You get to the point at least when things have the apocalyptic, you've become amazing, the world has shifted. You get to that within the first 3 chapters. The fact that we're at chapter 50 and the dude is still prepping, the dude is still like, gotta get even more billions. I gotta start building like this hyper big military base that can handle like nuclear warfare essentially, because the countries, I can't stop countries from nuking each other when they're seeing like aliens for the first time. So we're just gonna hide, wait it out essentially, and then come up and fight these damn things. And yeah, it's just crazy. And also the main character is not particularly like a good soul. He's pretty kind of a bastard. he's kind of like, yeah, well, like, again, there's not like the reason why I think I'm enjoying it so much as well is because it's not very virtuous. It's almost like if you've seen the end of the story or the end of the world, and you've seen how fucked up everything was, how there's like tyrants. There's these 8 tyrants. They're just kind of cruel. They dominate everybody. They dominate all of the dungeons essentially, so no one else can have like any entry into them. So they just keep gaining tons of power. The currency's basically gone to shit. All the world's basically terrible. And then you go back, and then people start going like, well, I kind of feel bad about doing this one thing and this one action, but like 20 years were you like living in shit and like seeing how bad everything was. I feel like you would kind of be like, it's refreshing to have a character that's basically just like, no, we're doing this way because this is the highest way to succeed. We're gonna do this because if we don't do this, that could happen. I don't want to go back to that happening. I'd rather be a bastard right now than for that whole ending to be the case. And it's kind of refreshing seeing someone just not be like, oh, my emotions, and just say, nope, nope, we're doing this because we can't have that. Done. And that's like, oh fuck, and then they're making great ground because of it, because you don't have like a whole chapter dedicated to him hating himself because he had to do an act that was great. You know, that's nice. I may be a psychopath, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you have a lovely day. Well, maybe not. Let's not wind down. Let's not wind down yet. What do you guys got going on in your life, by the way? Besides Lone, popping off with some amazing anime. What do you call it, Lone? Did you finish the one that you were talking about? I thought you were talking to me about that one you just started watching, which is like a harem anime where a guy gets like Cupid basically gives him like 16 wives accidentally, essentially, or like 100 wives accidentally, or not wives, but like partners, essentially, people who are going to pursue him or something. Soulmates, that's what it is. And yes, was it good? Did it taper off at the midway point and become kind of mid, or is it just the bee's knees? Also, I cherish you guys for letting me ramble about the stories I've read. They help me just kind of yeah. Oh my. Also, this is a side thing. It's a little strange. I uploaded a video on the Mind Palace of Madness channel, by the way, and to my surprise, the one that I uploaded right after I got monetized did really well. I also think I put a title on there that was just on the line of being a maybe too much. The title was "The One Thing Bone Lab Really Needs Is Here." Kind of provocative a little bit. It was true. I did talk about it was kind of like the story of how like levels are so important in the game, and how most people really deeply want in Bone Lab a stress level 0 type of experience. But I just uploaded another video and I didn't do as well, so it's tough. I gotta really I gotta get better at making titles, because I feel like that's such a big thing. It's like you gotta make it's like the perfect amount of what the video is about, but also what is the most curious. And it's just I don't like to lie, so I always gotta find something that's close enough and some kind of complex sometimes. It's not that bad. I get better at it. Fluff says, not a whole lot going on. I do have my tax return coming in a few weeks. Going to be a nice amount to work with while I continue to do a job hunting. Yeah, Fluff. What do you call it? Yeah, it's that thing that you found was actually just not good. It was just a lie. That sucks, man. That's unfortunate. But what do you call it? Yeah, man. What do you say? Thing to me? Hopefully we get the tax return soon. I always get freaked out every year with that. I don't know why. It's just like it's never been that bad. But yeah. Also, what did Lone say? I just see the word MILF. I think what? Lone says, I've been finished that anime GRINN. I love the sentence. I've been finished that. And it was the bee's knees. Can you Discord message me it? Because I might need to add that to the list. It sounds fun. It sounds like a fun harem one where you're gonna meet a bunch of different personality types, all that stuff. It was the bee's knees. A dude ended up having in his okay. Yeah. That's not surprising, but how? Also, how does that work? It's scheduled for the 23rd. Ooh. The return, hopefully. What are you planning on getting? Oh, sorry I did that. I know that sounds horrible when you inhale through your teeth. It's always like an SE sound. Oh, my body. Oh boy. Stretching is always a rough go of it. Oh, okay, now because it's the last bit of the stream, I want to see, can I modulate? Nope, there's no hope. There's not a single shred of hope, gang. I was gonna hope that I could modulate my voice, because basically when I'm talking through this thing, I can't, like, it has enough noise canceling. It's not noise canceling. It's just you got two fucking muffles on your ears, so I can't hear myself at all. I may be shouting at you guys. I'm sorry. But there is a feature where you can actually listen through the microphone in here, but it sucks. It's like I'm not sure if it's just my voice, but my voice, I guess, doesn't have like a natural. It has like a, when I speak normally, it has bass to it, I guess. But then when I talk anyway like this, it almost makes like a grating sound to it. And it, for whatever reason, when I have the compressor and everything on, it sounds okay, I think, for you guys. But when it's through here, it sounds, oh my god, so bad. It's like it makes this like kind of like grating sound. But maybe I'm talking normally right now. But the issue is when I can't hear myself, I will naturally slur my words because I talk so quickly that I can't make sure I'm talking slow enough to where my words start to kind of go. It's not great. Fluff says it's a schedule for the 23rd. Fluff says there's some necessities I'd like to get, but I'm also considering a new bed, and it will take up less space in my room. Ooh, more space for VR, maybe. Although I don't know if you're still doing the VR chat thing, though. I do think that is something that I'm really interested in to do eventually. I don't think I'll do it on stream. It's like a self-improvement, betterment thing. But I do think getting into the habit of doing VR chat and just talking to interesting people would be just good for me. I just don't get out very much, and I think it'd be a nice way to like talk to people. Also, I do think I've known a shocking amount of people who have weirdly found connections even through Destiny 2, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, or VR chat. Now, granted, there's also bad experiences where people just get like, you know, fucking catfish and horrible shit, but it does seem like it is just a place where introverts go and find other introverts, I guess. Does that make sense? Yeah. But I'm also not looking for love. I think it'd just be a good place to go hang out and talk to people who are different. What do you call it, Fluff? I was gonna say, have you seen? I don't know how much money they are, man, but I've always had bad sleep. I've always had good sleep. I have great sleep. I sleep great all the time. Reinforcement, please work. Regardless, I've seen that there is this mattress that doesn't look like it has too much going on, but it's basically just like a thin foam mattress that's like, I think, the bog standard Posturepedic type foam thing. But it apparently regulates the heat essentially underneath it. And to me, I'm like, oh shit, dude. I've been really interested in that because I think that could be amazing. Like a mattress that kind of like keeps you cool. Oh my god, dude. And in summer, oh my god, what a blessing. I can't even. That'd be so nice. But I'm worried of how much money it is. I'm hoping it's not like, if it's below $400 or around there, I think it might be worth it, just because I don't think it'd break. I think it'd be with you for a long time. And sleep is so important for like your whole fucking life in existence, especially with me with heat. Like I find if I overheat, that's the main thing that wakes me up. Like I'm like, oh my god, I'm so fucking hot. Take off my covers, you know, just pop a leg out, etc. Alone says, Grin, it was a whole thing. Long story short, a mom of one of his disapproved of the relationship, and they go save the mom, ends up out of course. Of course they do. What a bunch of sick freaks. I want to see what that ends up doing. That's got to be a comedy. It's got to be a comedy anime. And sure, Grin, I'll say thank you, Lo. Appreciate you. I said that I can't wait to see it, Lo. I might not watch it for a couple of. I still kind of want to try to get through Mashallah, whatever it is, the goddamn mage strength one, because I just feel like it looks. Keep seeing like amvas of it, music video fun things, and it looks fun. Yeah. But I don't know. I also don't. I'm not sure. What is that? A horned what? I don't know what that was that he was just making. I have seen this green-haired character, and also apparently you can change your character's look as well. That's fun. In Pal World, you have like a little thing that can change the look of your character, which is nice. I'm gonna watch this part back specifically to see if I'm slurring my words really badly, or if I'm just kind of getting by with talking like this. I feel like I probably am missing syllables, but hey, I'm also kind of self-conscious at certain moments. So I'm like, man, maybe I'd be better now than I am later. Lone says, but they do tease a season 2. I can't wait, but they always tease a season 2, Lone, and we're still sitting here not having a season 2, people. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my body is still sore. Don't know why. But what do we got planned for next week? I think we might. It's tough. I want to play more Dragon Saga. We have to. We have to play more Dragon Saga. I'm enjoying it too much not to play it. But I do think we will play Power World. Now, I just really like Power World. There's a new update. Feels weird not to play it. Also, people, my videos did really well on the Power World GRINN channel. So, yes, it's probably a good idea for us to also play it with that. But, I also want to do VR, man. And I can't give up these streams because these are just fun. This is our like catch-up time. But I will probably never try to stream VR on a Thursday because I just hated it. When we streamed VR that day, I didn't have time. Usually how it works is like I go throughout my week. And when Thursday happens, it's like my favorite time because I get to talk to you guys for like the first time the whole week. So shit's been happening. I've been watching stuff. Sometimes I get really lucky and I just have a really boring week because I just edit all day. But sometimes stuff happens. I'm like, okay, I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. But then we couldn't because I'm doing VR. And that's just like, if you've ever thought playing a video game and talking and then doing something, making progression in the video game is challenging. Imagine having to fucking balance on your feet, move around, grab shit. It's like the most hard mode difficulty thing you're doing to yourself. It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I think we'll take away the VR stream on Thursday. So we'll do Dragon's Dogma on Thursday. Hopefully I'll have enough time to grind through some story. Although I don't know. Hopefully it'll work out because I don't have a video previously recorded. So usually I just edit the video I already recorded. But I have to film it and then edit it. So we'll see. But we just not have a video on the Mind Palace Madness channel next week. But they do tease a season 2 and I can't wait. And Lone says, but I might just end up reading the manga. I would love if you read the manga and you tell me about it because I feel like I wonder how far it has gotten. I've never seen any like harem anime manga show, anything manga even really finish. They're always like cliffhangery, or they just kind of stop, or they slow down to just a crushing halt, and you're like, what the fuck? Why even start the story if it's gonna be one chapter every year? Are we fucking Hunter x Hunter? What? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can see you once again. Oh my god, I got a bubble in my chest. Sorry. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. This was awesome. I love talking to you as always. I really enjoyed the conversation about Gearbox and what kind of games we have, but I also just love talking about Borderlands and seeing what the future holds. I love talking about Dragon's Dogma with you guys, and I had a blast talking about the whole owning games versus not owning games, stuff like that. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can see you again on Thursday. I don't know if we'll use this camera lens. I didn't think it made that much of a difference. It was also kind of hard to put in there. Anyways, bye guys. Also, it's so zoomed in that you can see every imperfection I have, and your boy, a little self-conscious. Wait, before we leave, let me see. I'm not sure. Lucas rated us like 3 times, that guy, and I have not rated him back, and I hate myself. I just hate myself so much. Where's their raid channel? Is Lucas streaming? Luca is, of course, he's not. No, Luca's streaming. Guys, we have to stream Luca. We have to raid Luca. Like, please, guys, please. Please go to Luca and just tell him some nice things. He's done so many nice things to us. For love of God, please. We need to pay this back, please. Please. Please, Lone and Fluff, please still be here and not have left. We're raiding Luca. Go tell him some nice things because he's lovely, and you should absolutely go say some sweet things to him because he's always been absolutely sweet to us and raided us many times. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope I can see you again, and goodbye, my friends.